Just announced, Princess Leonor and Prince Christian's wedding stuns the world. Written in a documentary narrative tone, emotionally immersive,
today,
believable,
Princess
and rich in
Leonor
royal
of
Asturias wedding ceremony.
It's structured
live
to
from
sustain
Copenhagen.
attention
across a long-form
another
format
royal
with layered
wedding,
curiosity,
another glittering
family
crown,
tension, and
another
emotional
fairy
resonance.
tale.
2.
Narrator
Narrator
steady,
it wasn't
cinematic
supposed
tone.
to happen here.
2 kingdoms,
not in
2
Copenhagen.
heirs,
Not
bound
like
by
this.
history.
3.
Divided by
Because
destiny.
what began as a
And
diplomatic
now, united
engagement
by
has
love.
turned into the
This
most unexpected
changes
royal
everything.
union Europe
1.
has seen
The
in
announcement
decades.
that shook Europe.
This
Narrator.
is the wedding of
When the
Princess
official
Leonor of
statement hit the
Asturias.
royal websites
Live.
of Spain and
Today,
Denmark simultaneously,
the bells of Copenhagen
world
Cathedral
froze.
have just begun
No
to ring.
leaks,
A sound
no
that blends
rumors,
centuries
no
of
hints,
tradition with the
just a
pulse of
single
modern
headline
Europe.
shared across
Outside,
continents.
beneath
Her
a
Royal
crisp
Highness
November
Princess
sky,
Leonor
a sea
of
of
Spain
Spain
and His
ripples
Royal
in the
Highness
cold
Prince
Scandinavian
Christian
air.
of Denmark are to be married.
Spanish red and gold.
The news came
Danish
without
white
warning,
and red.
yet
Two
somehow
nations
it
bound,
felt inevitable.
not by politics,
Two
but
of
by
Europe's
love.
most admired
Princess
young
Leonor
royals,
of
now
Asturias,
stepping into
heir to
history
the Spanish
together.
throne, steps
But
out
how
of her
did
carriage.
two heirs, born
She's
to different
only 20
thrones,
years old,
raised in
but
different
today,
worlds,
she walks
find
into
each other
history.
in a life already
Her
scripted
gown,
by
a
tradition.
custom creation by
This
Spanish
is their
designer
story.
Lorenzo
2.
Caprile.
The
Whispers
Whispers
of
of
heritage.
Heritage, narrator.
Ivory silk
It began
embroidered
quietly,
with symbols of
years
Asturias,
ago,
at
Blue
a royal
Cross of the
event
Lilies
feast
of
of
Denmark. In
2018,
trails behind
during
her
the
like a
50th
river of
birthday
light.
celebrations
But behind
of
the
Crown
elegance,
Prince Frederick of
whispers
Denmark,
ripple through the
a
crowd.
teenage Leonor
Why
attended with her
Copenhagen?
parents,
Why not
King
Madrid?
Felipe and Queen
And why was the
Letizia?
guest list so
She was
selective?
poised, but that's
Shy,
where this story
still learning
begins.
the choreography
Months
of royal
ago,
life.
no one expected
Across
this.
the Grand Hall,
Leonor had
young
just
Prince
completed her
Christian
military
stood beside
training
his
at
mother,
Zaragoza.
Crown Princess
The
Mary,
Spanish press
polished,
praised her discipline,
confident,
her
with a
poise,
spark of
her
mischief
growing
that
resemblance
reminded
to
many
Queen
of his
Letitia's
grandfather,
father,
Prince Henrik.
Then,
They
a
exchanged
quiet
glances,
photograph appeared
a polite
online.
greeting,
Leonor
nothing
in
more.
civilian
Yet,
clothes,
those who
laughing
were
there
there
remember
tall
something
blonde man
almost
at a cinematic
cinematic,
cafe.
an unspoken recognition
At
between
first,
two
no
lives
one paid
destined to cross
attention.
again.
Another European
Years
royal
passed,
acquaintance,
each grew
perhaps,
into their roles,
but insiders
Leonor
whispered
began her
otherwise.
military
The man
training.
was Count Frederick
Christian took on
Rosencrantz,
public
a distant
duties in
cousin of the
Copenhagen.
Danish royal
But
family,
as Europe's next
known not for his
generation of
title,
monarchs
but for his
matured,
quiet
their paths
humanitarian work
continued
in
to
Greenland.
converge. At
A
events,
man of
at
both
shared
privilege and
initiatives,
humility,
even at private
their
gatherings
meeting,
between the
sources
two royal
say,
houses,
wasn't political at
and
all.
in 2023,
It was accidental.
during
A
Leonor's
youth
18th
environmental
birthday
forum,
celebrations,
two young royals
something
from different
shifted.
kingdoms.
Christian
One
attended
conversation
quietly,
that never really
under the
ended.
guise of family
By spring,
representation.
the Spanish
But
court
witnesses
confirmed
later said the
Leonor's
way they looked at
personal
each other that
engagement
evening
with the
was
Count,
unmistakable.
a move that stunned Europe.
It wasn't political.
For Spain,
it was a
wasn't arranged.
diplomatic bridge
It was
to the
human.
north.
3.
For Denmark,
the secret
a symbol of
relationship,
unity within a
narrator.
changing monarchy.
By 2024,
but not everyone
whispers
approved.
had begun.
Reports from
Discreet
Madrid
trips
suggested
between
tension
Madrid and
within
Copenhagen.
Zarzuela Palace.
Charitable
Queen
events with
Letizia,
overlapping
ever
patronages,
protective,
feared the speed of
coordinated
it all.
schedules that seemed
King Felipe,
too perfect to be
dignified
coincidence.
but cautious,
The Spanish
reportedly
press
warned
called
of the
it weight of
un
crown and choice.
real, a royal
Still,
closeness.
Leonor stood firm.
Still, I was
Both
born to
families
serve,
denied
she told
speculation.
the press quietly.
Officially,
But
there
I
was
am also
nothing.
born to
But
love.
behind the
That
palace
moment,
walls,
broadcast
something
deeper
deeper
was
was Spanish
unfolding.
television.
Sources
marked a turning
close to
point.
both courts described
For the
long
first
letters,
time, Spain
handwritten,
saw not
personal,
just its
unguarded,
future queen,
but a young woman
conversations
choosing her
stretching
destiny.
late into the night.
Today,
across time
as
zones
Leonor
and
takes her
protocols.
first steps down the
Leonor
aisle of
was
Copenhagen
disciplined,
Cathedral,
trained for
those words
discretion,
echo through marble
Christian,
and memory.
spontaneous and
King
unfiltered,
Felipe stands
admired her
tall,
focus.
his expression
She grounded
unreadable
him.
but proud.
He made her breathe.
Queen Letizia,
Soft music
elegant
fades
as
to
ever,
quiet.
clasps
Narrator
her hands
lowers
tight.
tone.
Between
It
pride
was a
and
love that
nostalgia.
didn't demand permission,
Crown
but
Prince
was
Christian
Christian
of
Denmark.
Denmark.
Just a few
4.
meters away.
The tensions
Smiles,
within the thrones.
his mother,
Queen
narrator,
Mary,
watching
the
the
Spanish
Spanish
monarchy.
monarchy. Leonor's
This isn't
future
just
is not
a wedding.
her own.
It's
the
the
bridge
future of a
between
nation still
monarchies,
balancing
between
modern
democracy
democracy
with
with
royal
between
legacy.
tradition and change.
King Felipe,
But one
proud
question
yet
still
cautious,
lingers.
feared
What does
distraction.
this mean for
Queen
Spain's future?
Letizia, protective,
If Leonor
pragmatic,
ascends the throne,
worried about
and
her
her
daughter's
husband is
independence
Danish nobility,
being shadowed
will
by
the
a foreign
Spanish
crown.
people accept a foreign
In
consort?
Denmark, Queen
The
Margrethe had seen
constitutional
this
scholars
before.
are already
Royal
debating
unions
it,
across
but the
borders
people
rarely
watching
come
here
without
in
consequence.
Copenhagen,
The
thousands
Danish
gathered
tabloids
around giant
speculated
screens,
endlessly.
aren't thinking
Would
about
Christian leave
constitutions.
Denmark?
Would
They're
Leonor move
thinking
north?
about
Could
how,
two heirs,
in this
both
century of
future
uncertainty,
sovereigns,
love
share a
can
life
still
without
unite
betraying their
empires.
birthrights.
And then,
The
music
moment everyone's been
intensifies,
waiting for.
rhythmic strings,
Leonor reaches
meetings
the
followed.
altar.
The
Quiet
cathedral is
consultations
relations between Madrid and Copenhagen holds its breath. Advisors warned of diplomatic complications, succession logistics, switching seamlessly between Spanish and Danish. But through every obstacle, Leonor and Christian remained steadfast. I will honor you with my life and my heart. Centuries of tradition dictate the course of one love story. Unwavering, cuts through the echoing stone. And that's when the world began to change its tone. Why yo contigo? And the public realization. Narrator. By mid-2025, for all the royal watchers noticed. Leonor's public speeches carried a new thunder. Cameras interviews spoke of
just like
shared
that,
values.
the young girl
And
once
the
known
next
for her
chapter
quiet
for Europe's
reserve
youth
has become a symbol
At
of
a
something
United
larger.
Nations Youth
The
Summit
union
in
of two
Geneva,
houses,
they appeared
two
side
nations,
by
and
side,
two hearts that
officially
refused
as
to follow the old
representatives of their
script.
nations. But as the
But the
newlyweds
subtle
step
looks,
out
the
into the
quiet
cold
gestures,
Copenhagen
told
air,
a different
one can't
story.
help but wonder.
The cameras
What
caught
happens
it.
next?
The internet
Will
exploded.
Leonor's marriage
Princess
strengthen
Leonor
Spain's
and Prince
monarchy,
Christian
or
Europe's
complicate
modern
it?
fairy tale?
Will she live
One
in
headline
Madrid
asked,
or in Copenhagen?
but others were skeptical.
And how will Europe's
Some
youngest
called it
queen
a
publicity
balance
move,
duty
an
and desire
orchestrated
in a
alliance
world
to
where
modernize
tradition
the
still weighs
monarchy's
heavy.
image?
Those
Then
answers
came the
are still
photograph that
unfolding.
silenced the
But
doubt.
one thing is clear
6.
tonight:
The
history
photograph
has turned a
narrator.
page. It was candid,
And somewhere,
not beneath
posed,
the glow
not
of
official,
cathedral lights.
a
Two
quiet
young
evening
royals
in
walk
Majorca.
hand in hand,
Leonor,
into a
in a
future
simple
only they
linen
can write.
dress, walking
From
beside Christian
Copenhagen,
along the
this
coast.
is the wedding of Princess
No
Leonor of
bodyguards in sight.
Asturias. No cameras
A
in
love
frame,
story written in
until one
courage,
tourist caught the
conviction,
moment
and
by
quiet
chance.
defiance.
They weren't performing. They were just two people in love. The photograph went viral in minutes. In Denmark, it was hailed as real love. In Spain, it was seen as destiny fulfilled. Suddenly, Europe's young generation, once distant from royal traditions, saw something they could believe in. Authenticity. Humanity. Two heirs, writing their own story. 7. The proposal. Narrator. The proposal, insiders later revealed, took place in the gardens of Zarzuela Palace, private, unannounced, under a cascade of white magnolia blossoms. Christian had traveled quietly to Madrid with permission from both royal families. No grand gestures, no press. Just him, a ring designed from Danish gold and Spanish sapphire, and a promise. 2 crowns. 1 heart. Leonor said yes. And for the first time in modern European history, 2 future monarchs would join their destinies, not through arrangement, but through choice. When the news broke, it wasn't tabloid frenzy, it was awe. 8. The world reacts. Narrator. From Copenhagen to Madrid, from Oslo to Washington, the headlines were unanimous. A union that reshapes Europe's future. Leaders congratulated them. The Pope sent a personal blessing. Even royal families from Britain, Sweden, and Belgium released statements of joy and respect. Social media flooded with admiration. But amid the celebration, one question echoed. How would 2 reigning houses share their heirs? Would this union create a stronger European alliance, or quietly fracture royal tradition itself? The answer, it turned out, was both. 9. The wedding. Narrator. The ceremony was announced for spring at Madrid's Almudena Cathedral, an unprecedented fusion of Spanish majesty and Danish elegance. The day arrived beneath a clear blue sky. Crowds filled the Plaza Mayor, waving flags of both nations. The air carried the toll of ancient bells and the scent of jasmine. Leonor's gown, crafted in Spain, embroidered in Denmark, symbolized the merging of 2 legacies. Christian wore the uniform of the Danish Royal Guard, adorned with the Order of the Golden Fleece, gifted by King Felipe himself. Soft orchestral melody, emotional and regal. As she walked down the aisle, Leonor's eyes met his. Every headline, every barrier, every doubt disappeared. What remained was history. When the Archbishop declared them husband and wife, applause erupted, not of protocol, but of pure joy. For once, Europe saw not politics, but love. 10. The future of 2 thrones. Narrator. After the wedding, the royal houses released a joint statement outlining a groundbreaking agreement. Leonor and Christian would remain heirs to their respective thrones, serving both nations collaboratively, symbolizing unity rather than division. A dual monarchy, unprecedented in modern Europe. Historians called it revolutionary. The people called it hopeful. Together, they represented the evolution of royalty, duty-bound not by geography, but by shared humanity. From Copenhagen's canals to Madrid's palaces, murals appeared. Artists painted them as symbols of peace. Children wore flags of both nations intertwined. And for the first time in centuries, 2 kingdoms didn't just share a border of diplomacy. They shared a heartbeat. 11. Closing reflection. Narrator. Gentle, warm tone. History will remember this wedding as more than a union of royals. It was the day love rewrote the rules of the crown. 2 heirs, born into legacy, raised for duty, chose each other, not out of alliance but out of truth. And in doing so, they gave Europe something it hadn't felt in decades. Hope. Soft choral finale rises, bells echo faintly. So yes, just announced. Princess Leonor and Prince Christian's wedding has stunned the world. But perhaps, in the quiet after the celebration, We realize it didn't just unite two nations. It reminded us all what power really looks like. The courage to love, against all expectation.